Welcome to Amiga Ireland. On the show today we will cover Amiga and Commodore related news, gaming news, events, music and discoveries, which is anything interesting we found since the last episode. It's the first episode of Season 2. I'm Irla.
I'm Rob.
I'm Luke.
How are you doing, lads?
I'm alright. There is an awful lot of stuff that's happened over the last while since we had our last podcast, isn't there?
Well, I think a lot of releases, to be honest, Yeah, the community's thriving and seems to be a good beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How have you been keeping yourselves busy since we last met?
Well, I've been uploading my old Amiga videos to YouTube, like stuff regarding, Wi-Fi cards and browsing and internet applications. So this has been like taking some of my time.
Mm-hmm. I've been, the usual. I said I wouldn't do any more repairs, but I've still got those same 10 Amigas sitting in my boxes here waiting on me to have a look at them.
Yeah.
But so they're there looking at me.
Rob the Tinkerer. Always.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, brilliant.
I've also built the prototype Zorro and ATX board for, I don't know if you've seen the case that Stephen Jones is working on, the Checkmate 1500. Mm-hmm. So I've built the cards for that it needs for fitting an Amiga 500 board. And it all works. So that's going to be sent off to him now shortly for prototyping in the case.
Wow, good man.
Right.
Yeah, anything to do with technology I find is a huge time sink. Even something basic like going onto Facebook to do a particular job, Oh
yeah.
I just find way more time goes than I intend or have.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a similar feeling, to be honest, and similar issues. Right.
I've been avoiding the online world while I try and meet my college deadlines for my final year. But I spotted a brilliant headline there just recently, the Irish Times, and the headline is in the lifestyle section. My husband said he was on a health buzz, but he was just cycling to the pub.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, so this guy had at least one heart attack and his doctor had given him strict orders, so he had quit the cigarettes and he had told his wife he was doing this new health regime. And they went to a local bar restaurant to eat with his wife a couple of weeks into his regime, or a month in, and he said the waiting staff were really friendly with them. So she asked them when they were leaving, how do you all know him so well? And they said, he comes in here nearly every day in his cycling gear for a couple of pints and a load of food, and then he cycles off again.
Brilliant.
Anyway, let's move on to Amiga related news. Bambi Amiga, the service that hosts websites and email accounts on an Amiga 1200, is now offering a disk imaging service. So you can send a disk image to Bambi Amiga and they will put it on a floppy for you and post it to you, and you can choose between double density and H density disks, I think, and things like that. And they support or provide international postage, so the link will be in the show notes for that.
Cool. Well done, Ryu. Okay, so Riva has been updated, and a lot of people will know this is going a long time. This is an old video player for the 68K Amigas, and it's a very good player. It's it really sort of gets anything, all you can get out of a 68K CPU. But recent update, and now it also supports the vampire specific instructions, which is which will help the speeding up the decoding of MPEG video.
Nice. I'm dying to get some movies on my Amiga, even just on a compact flash card, because I'd love to just watch X-Files in blocky glory on the Amiga.
Oh, yeah. I always remember the OS 3.9 CD, I think it was, came with a couple of movie trailers.
Oh yeah,
one was
definitely.
for the Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, and there was another one, but it was just to show off that it came with a video player, and if you look at them now, it's horrendous quality, but it was at the time, like, wow.
Nice. Well, in other news, AMI SSL 4.2 has been released, and that includes updates just to stay current with the latest web standards and some other fixes, and that's available on AmiNet.
Yeah, and coupled to that, AWeb has been updated as well. Now, I think this is an OS4 only update. I don't think the 68K was updated with this slot, but it supports AMI SSL 4.2 for dealing with modern secure servers.
Filip Mariański has just released his source code for the Kwakwa communicator. Kwakwa is a Morphos communicator, and it's got a lot of plugins as well. So it's been released now, open sourced, and Kwakwa has got modules for GG, Jabber, and Google Talk as well.
Nice. And LightView is a 3D viewer for Lightwave files, and it has had a full release for download on Aminet, and it's for AGA machines. It's a full version released after almost 2 decades with environment mapping and support of coloured surfaces. So that would be something nice to play around with, even if you're not very good at modelling, or if you haven't done any, you can download the files, just load them up in it and play around.
Mm-hmm.
And DC RAW is a shell converter for raw digital photos, and it's support for MorphOS by a developer called B-World.
Now, and this is a big one. I think most people have heard of it already, but the Apollo core has been updated. So this is the core of the Vampire expansion. That's version 2.7, which has been knocking around for a while. That was released and then followed fairly quickly by 2.8, which is released about a week ago. Now this pair of updates, it fixes a lot of things that had been asked for a while, like the hardware FPU is pretty much there, and it's not 100%, but it's good enough for the vast majority of uses. And there's been improvements to the AMMX instruction set, and a lot of other stuff under the hood. So that'll be a big one for any of the Vampire people. Now, bear in mind, this one, you should have your Vampire registered before you do this update, because if you don't, your video will be in black and white. So just make sure your card is registered. If you've only recently bought it, then it should already be registered. But if you've had it for a while and you've gone through the updates, this one, make sure. You can search how to do that online.
In terms of pace of development, Apollo Core seems to be really putting it to the likes of OS4, Aros, Morphos. Would that be fair to say, Rob? Yeah,
absolutely. See, there's a lot of interest around it, and so there's a lot of pressure. But at the same time, it is lacking in some areas. So, there's a lot of work still to do in it. But it is nice to see that they are, even if they don't seem like it, eventually taking feedback on board and coming up with the goods. And it's a nice pace. All right, it's good to see there's constant updates like that.
Well, the progress is down there, and it's steady, and in my opinion, this is what really matters. As long as there is progress, it's good news.
Mm-hmm. David Pleasance's book should be available by June, according to a blog post by Trevor Dickinson. Blog.a-aon.biz is the site where Trevor posts his blogs, and he's got a lovely post there at the moment covering his trip to Amiga Ireland in 2018, as well as Amiga 1 and OS 4.1 developments, Tower 57 testing. He talks about some Amiga books and a whole lot more, so there's a nice long read there if you're into long reads.
Another big release, MorphOS 3.10 has been released, and it's been 10 days, so it's actually 1,010 days since last release. Loads of improvements, new skinning, new visuals, and apart from that, it also works on Amiga 1 X5000, and this one is a long-awaited release, so it should make a lot of people happy, including me, to be honest. I've been waiting for this one for quite some time. Even though I don't use Morphos on a regular basis anymore, it's a progress, and again, good to see.
Good to see, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a big one. It's been talked about for
big one.
2 or 3 years now. That's been in the works, but there's the change list is huge, and there's some new things like the new mailer. I think there's a new installer. There are a few sort of big things, and all the new icons and the new visuals.
It looks flat.
It's kind of I'm not a fan of that, but it to be fair, it does look modern.
It looks modern. Yeah, that's right. I absolutely agree. But I think under the hood, a lot of magic has been done as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, worth checking out. Definitely.
I will download that now when I have 2 minutes to rub together.
Go for it, Rob. Go for it.
Right, let's move on to the gaming section. The Amiga Rama podcast has released a cover of the Hero Quest game. Now, he's released some other episodes since then as well, so there's plenty to catch up on. But I loved this board game as a kid. I remember painting all of the pieces with some of my neighbours. We made up our own levels and created new monsters, new abilities. I remember Terminator 2 was big at the time, so we created one set of creatures that could morph from one type of opponent into another, if they gave up a load of moves or action points. So unfortunately my parents dumped it while I was at college. They did ask me if I wanted to come and get it, but I said no, dump it. So Lofarius does a great job of covering the details of the company activity, and Gremlin were the group behind it, and the game itself, and he recommends watching Conan the Barbarian uncut as well in there, so I'll check it out. Lofarius.
Mm-hmm. And this is another big one that's been in the works for a while. Tower 57, that got its full release on the Amiga platform now, only in the last week or two. This was released on the PC there just before Christmas, but it was on Kickstarter, got its stretch goal, and the stretch goal was to be released on Amiga platforms. So this is if you haven't seen it, it's a great game. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a Chaos Engine style, but with a sort of modern
approach.
Exactly. So you get the modern
approach.
There's lighting effects. There particle effects, there's some nice touches, and it runs. You need a modern Amiga style system like an OS4 machine or a MorphOS machine, and it runs on AROS as well. But it shows, even though it's done in the 16-bit style, but it is when you actually look at it, there's a lot going on the screen, and it runs. It runs at a good pace, even on the my old A1 G4. So. It does run well on the Tabor. I had a brief go of it there at the Amiga Ireland show, but and which is a sort of if you like, an entry level machine that and that wasn't optimized. But so it looks a business. It plays really, really well and has a lovely 2-player co-op on it.
Right, really, really big release, I must say, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of Chaos Engine as well. So, one more thing: the price for the game is pretty decent too. As far as I remember, is around $12.
It's something like that, yeah. So and the thing is, you have to buy. You buy it on Steam for the PC or for whatever other platforms it's on. And then you get in touch with them, and you get a link for an Amiga download, and that's how it's done. So there's no sort of Amiga specific website you can buy it on or anything like that. You go buy it on the thing, and now a special shout out to Daniel Musner, who did the Amiga port, and he worked on it really hard, and he's done platform specific optimizations on it as well. So the Amiga OS 4 version uses Amiga OS 4 specific rendering, and MorphOS uses MorphOS specific rendering, and the same with AROS. And so this just means that they all run really, really well on machines that are far less powerful than the equivalent PC that the game is running on. So it's really, really a lot of work gone into that.
Yeah, I think it's got a pretty low requirements as well, as far as I remember. It's G3 600, but I'm pretty sure it runs pretty well on even lower specs too, because it's been ported really well. Yeah,
and people have been reporting that it runs well on the SAM machines, so that's that's impressive.
That's a really low specs machine. Blakestone is another port for Amiga 68K. It's a great Wolfenstein-like game. I don't know if you remember this game, guys, from early 90s. It's a Wolfenstein 3D clone, but set in a sci-fi world, actually, and in space. And I remember I played that on one of my first PCs. It was 286 PC with mono VGA monitor, and I really enjoy that. And I'm really glad this game's been ported to classic Amiga, so worth checking.
Bomb Jack Beer Edition by Graham Cowie has had a beta release. Now, you can see more about this game on vintagesthenewold.com, where they've covered it in more detail. It looks like it's called Beer Edition because the backgrounds will be from the developer's favourite drinking locations around England and Spain. And I think he's also going to have a kebab-related level. So, yeah, you can check it out. It's looking really good so far.
Bomberman 64 is a clone of Bomberman 464, apparently. There has been a free download release recently. Also, if you like to purchase a game, it's available as a cartridge-boxed version. I am, myself, a big fan of Dynablaster, which is apparently as well a Bomberman clone. So, if you like those type of games, I really encourage anyone to have a look and to just to play it, to enjoy it.
And Morphos has had some ports of some great games like Stunt Car Racer, Strategist, and Sea Dogs. And Stunt Car Racer is a slightly modernised version of it too, so the link for that will be in the show notes.
Spencer is a game that kind of appeared out of nowhere just recently, and that's it's a run and jump game that's out for Amiga OS 4. That's done by Entwickler X. I don't know exactly how I should be pronouncing that, but we'll give that a go. But you know, they've done some good work before, and this looks really, really well polished. It's fairly, you know, it's fully 3D rendered run and jump game. Basically, that's what it is, a platformer, and it is, you know, it looks the business. Really, really looks good. You know, and there's a demo that's downloadable, and it's also available from the what's it called? App Store, anyway, whatever it's called.
Ami Store, probably.
Ami Store, yes, that's the one. That's the one. Thank you, Rick. Why couldn't I think of that?
It's just too obvious. That's the reason, probably. Okay.
Yeah. But so if you have an OS4 machine, well worth downloading the demo for that and have a look. Yeah. And then if it's your kind of thing, well worth supporting them.
And one of the nicest games I've seen in ages is called Pets Rescue, and it's actually for the Commodore Plus 4. It's a platform that's a little bit like Mario and gives the Commodore 64 and even the Amiga some good competition. So you can go and check that out. And if you're a Plus 4 owner, I mean, there's no way you can miss this.
Yeah, the thing that drew my attention at first when I checked the news about this game is the graphics. It's so it's so colourful, to be honest, you know. As C++'s got a little bit more colours than the usual old C64. I think it's like 134 or 136. So it looks really nice if it comes to 8-bit platform.
Worm Sun has been released for MorphOS. This is it's in the sort of the style of Warcraft. So it's a real-time strategy game, and I believe that's a port from the PC version. So it looks very good. I haven't played it yet, but it's well worth checking out if that kind of thing is your bag.
Mm-hmm.
Stunt Car Racer Remake has been ported to OS 4 and is available at OS 4 Depot, and it looks really nice.
A native AGA version of Day of Tentacle. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that game. The game is a classic point and click adventure. It's one of my favorite ones, you know. With Manic Mansion, Day of Tentacle, like any other LucasArts game, is just a classic. And if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't played it, go and have a look. I'm sure you won't be disappointed, even though you're not a fan of point and click adventure games. It's got the style, it's got the graphics, it's got the humor, which is brilliant in my opinion.
Yeah. And Epic Skid Marks will run a modern version of Skid Marks in your web browser, desktop or mobile, and possibly also it'll come to Chromecast, Apple TV, and to smart screens. So it's called, if you know the Skid Marks game and Super Skid Marks from the Amiga, really great fun. We play it sometimes at Amiga Ireland, and it gets a lot of good cheer and laughter and stuff. So this is called Epic Skid Marks, and the link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that actually. Sweep Out is a Minesweeper clone, and that is it's got an interesting take on the whole Minesweeper idea. So it's an online one where you've got online scoring, and so you're trying to beat other people's scores, but you can also actually just break their scores if you can't beat them. But it's a really interesting and again it's well polished. Well, basically, it's got this parallax scrolling built in, and interesting level design where it's not just based on a rectangle. So you've got sort of corridors and pathways of mines and of tiles. So it's very interesting. It's well worth a look.
The interesting thing actually is it's been written in Amos, but it looks so stylish in my opinion. And
it does. It's well finished.
And it joins the group of games that are like online ones, like Dynamite or HB Monopoly or all those like 3D clones, when you can play online. And I haven't seen, to be honest, anything like it before if it comes to Minesweepers, but it looks really, really nice and well polished.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to discoveries. You can convert a mod to an MP3 online by visiting coolutils.com. I tracked down one of my favourite mods of all time, and I needed to play it on my phone quickly, so it was easier to just use this website. I was able to use it from the phone, upload the mod, and it gave me a link to download an MP3. Really nice utility.
Brilliant. This one's not strictly Amiga related, but there's a tool I've used in the past for repurposing hard drives. If you get a hard drive, you want to properly erase it and do the proper sort of multi-write erase, and it's called Eraser, funny enough, and it's by a group called Heidi. But I only just found out that they're from Greystones, or they're based in Greystones, and that's my hometown. So shout out for you guys. And thanks.
Brilliant.
It's a great little tool.
Cool. Miss Mad Lemon has a Flickr channel with some really nice photos of Commodore stuff that she's made, and some other projects that she works on. And since I made this note, actually, she also has a Discord channel now, so we'll put the link to that in the show notes to her Twitter announcement of it. And there's some nice people gathering in that spot. And also, texteditors.org has about 15 different Amiga text editors among its entries. I was looking for something specific, and there's something there for whatever your preferences in text editors there, especially one that you mentioned before, Rob, that you like.
Reddit.
Reddit,
yeah.
I think that's on it as well.
Yeah, very good one.
Yeah,
good stuff.
And finally, LOR Keymaps on Aminet.net provides Dvorak keyboard layouts for one-handed typists, either left or right hand. So if you remember the GoldenEye movie, Boris was the Russian bad guy in it. So he was always typing with one hand and spinning a pen in the other hand, and he was just the ultimate, evil computer geek. He was great.
Yeah.
So he was actually using the Dvorak keyboard layout. So Dvorak isn't like QWERTY. It arranges it so that the middle row, where ASDF normally is in all of those, 80% of the letters that you use in day-to-day words are on that middle row. So you have very little movement of the fingers, and it was designed like this in mind. And a lot of people who get RSI from typing a lot use this keyboard layout, and they get a lot of relief from it, and they sometimes increase their speed. These left and right-handed models give you that same kind of ergonomic layout in a sort of a radial pattern, either to the left side or the right side of the keyboard, and you can actually type pretty well with one hand on it. It's really cool. So I doubt many of you listening are going to need it, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. Legend has it that the QWERTY layout came from the days of mechanical typewriters where typists were too quick and they were jamming keys. So this was deliberately designed to slow them down.
Nice. Didn't know that.
Yes, so that's why letters like E and I and O, and they're far away from where an easy place for them. So and basically that layout stuck because that's what typists used. So we're stuck with it then in the electronic age when we didn't need to slow people down anymore. But these alternative layouts, there were a couple of them, but the Dvorak one is the most popular one at this stage, and it's really interesting to see enough interest that people are releasing Amiga layouts for it.
Yeah, it's really nice. I use it myself, Rob, as you know. I started using it. I started using it back in 2001, I think, when I was working on computer projects in college. It was the final year of the degree at the time, and suddenly I got really bad RSI in my hands, and it got so bad that I couldn't open a car door with my hands, and I couldn't type. So I had to do something quickly. So I ended up in the end switching to Dvorak, and the pain went away within a couple of weeks. It was great. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool keyboard layout. I'm definitely grateful that it's available.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the layout on Amiga actually has accented characters. So if you're typing, French or Spanish or even Irish, you've got the accents you need. The diacritics, I think they call them, isn't it?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah. I can't remember exactly the different names. There are a lot of different, depending on what they do. But yeah. It's awesome.
Okay, let's go on to community news and events. So in Germany, there is an AROS install and configuration party by the AROS team member Phoenix Console. You can bring a USB stick, SD card, DVDs, CDs, whatever, and they can be pre-configured for your computer specifically, or you can write Icaros, Aspire OS, Broadway, Aminux, Eros to these media. You'll do software tutorials, 3D printing. The first workshop took place on March 17th, and the follow-up will be on April the 21st, as well as another one on May the 19th. And there will be many more dates, so if you check the link that we have here, you can see what he's got planned there. That's really cool. And in Amiga Ireland on January 2019, we're also going to have an AROS workshop by the core developer Neil Cafferty, who's coming up from County Cork.
Excellent. Right, Revision 2018 is the biggest demo party in Europe, maybe even in the world, and it's just pure demo scene, visitors from all around the world. So if you like demo scene, and no matter what platform, you have to see it, or you have to go down there. I haven't been down there actually, to be honest, but every year I'm promising myself that I'm just gonna go, but
I watch it online actually.
Yeah, I watch it online as well, but it's not the same.
No.
A lot of my friends have been down there, but I promise myself every year that I will go, and eventually I will go down there and take part in this big, demo scene event.
Okay, let's move on to Ask Amiga. I was in Miss Mad Lemon's Discord channel just before we came on, and somebody asked what are some good programming books for Amiga, and this question came in from Adventure Wombat.
Brilliant. Okay, programming books on the Amiga. Well, there's one in particular that I think of, and I got it a long time ago, but it's programming. It's basically programming C for the Amiga, and it's by Cliff Ramshaw. Now it's long out of print, but if you can find a copy of that, it's fantastic. I use that as it covers a lot of stuff, a lot of general C stuff as well, because I used that as a reference book in college and got myself some funny looks in the labs. But it covers all the C stuff, and then it goes into the Amiga specifics, dealing with the OS, dealing with graphics, all that kind of stuff. And it was, I think it's a really great book, and it's still in my bookshelf here, well worn. And if you could find a good copy of it, great. It also came with Dice C at the time. That was a pretty good setup. It came with a full Dice C environment along with all the include files and the headers and all that stuff on a set of discs. And I used that for years. It was brilliant. But more recently, I see there's now I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a group in Poland who have been publishing a few Amiga related books, and some of them have been translated into English. Now I know there are definitely there were definitely books for C and Blitz Basic, and definitely the Blitz Basic one has been translated into English. So I haven't read them, but it's very interesting that there are still, books being printed in that kind of way, and it kind of, I suppose, like the 3D printing. There are modern sort of on-demand printing services nowadays that allow sort of smaller runs like that, which is great. But yeah, there are a few out there. But another one of mine that I liked was for AREX programming, actually, and I still use that as a reference as well. And it was called AREX, your Amiga's built-in turbocharger, and that was published by Future Publishing. Toby, can't remember his second name, but it should be easy enough to find. But that's a great book as well. For if you're into AREX at all and you're using the OS, there's so much you can do with that, and it's a fantastic reference.
Yeah, Future Publishing have done some really great tutorials and stuff like that, actually.
They really did. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Rob. So we're coming up to the end of the show. Our next episode is going to come out in 2 weeks, and we're going to be interviewing somebody from the Amiga 3D modelling scene. See what I did there?
Hey.
As well as the creator of Amiberry. So tune in 2 weeks for the interview with Maudib and Midwan. And we're going to finish up with a song from an album called Riding with Amiga by Shot97. So Shot97 put a post up on AmigaLove.com showing how he creates music with MIDI, and he created a really nice kind of he used Music X, so it's kind of a really good MIDI controller that will run on Amiga 500 and 1200 and probably all of them. And he produced this album that's really listenable. Might fall into the category of ambient music with little in the way of percussion. The instruments vary among the songs, and he experiments with kind of different musical instruments, like the number of beats to the bar and stuff. So it's very different. We had Music X up and running ourselves in January at the Amiga Ireland event, and there's a video on YouTube that covers Music X very well too, actually. That one's by Amiga Format. And I know in the group we've had Colin and one or two others mentioning they'd like to get into MIDI. So it's pretty fitting that I came across this by Shot. So you just need a keyboard that supports MIDI to do this kind of work. You can get the cables from sordan.ie, and that's free postage within Ireland. And we'll close out with a song by Shot97, and the other music in the episode is by Banjo Kayali and Virtual Dimensions. So until next time, bye from me.
And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
just 1 second. Do you want me to turn your light off, Monkey? Yeah, okay.